Hello, my name is Colin Davies with Security Pacific. Welcome to New Agent Training Seminar number 1. This is, I just got a buyer, now what do I do? So you've been introduced to a new prospective buyer, whether that's a referral from a family member, a neighbor, or possibly a family friend, or even maybe a lead source through the web, maybe through Zillow, HomeLight, any source of the new prospective buyer. The first thing you want to do is make contact with that prospective buyer. So whether they were introduced to you through an email or possibly a family friend who's given you their phone number, you're going to want to reach out as soon as possible to them. That could be a text message asking them when the best time for them is to have an initial phone call that might be about 5 to 10 minutes, but finding the time that works for them and for you where you're able to connect. And that first initial communication, you're going to want to get information from that prospective buyer to kind of see where they're at in the process, right? You might have somebody that really new to the process and doesn't know too much, but by hopping on a phone call, maybe for about 5-10 minutes, you're gonna be able to get an idea of where they're at. You're gonna wanna ask them questions. How long have they been looking for a home? Are they new to the process? Are they currently working with a realtor, or have they been working with a realtor? And then also kind of get an idea of the areas that they're looking, right? You should be able to pretty quickly be able to get what cities maybe they're looking for, and then also kind of a price point that they're looking for. Instead of asking them what's your price point, asking them, have they spoken with the lender already? Have they started the financing process? Is there a budget they're willing to work within? That's as opposed to asking them maybe how much are you approved for, or what's the maximum your amount to pay for a home. Kind of ask them more of a question, what their budget they're looking to work within, and also getting an idea of the neighborhoods they're looking for, and then also kind of maybe getting an overview of how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, the square footage of the home, square footage of the lot size. That's going to kind of give you an indication of where they're at, and then also by answering that question with what kind of budget that they want to stay within, you're gonna be able to quickly determine if it's realistic or not, right? So for instance, maybe you're currently have somebody that's looking in Pinole Valley, Terror Hills area, and they say they want a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and they say they want to be within a $400,000 budget. Pretty quickly you can determine if that's realistic or not, based on where the market is right now. And that's all going to change from time to time. But having that initial conversation of getting an idea of what they're looking for and their price points, you're gonna determine kind of how realistic they are about the home search process. With having that conversation, the next step that you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to set up a face-to-face with that person, right? I know during COVID right now it's a little bit challenging to set up appointments to meet in person, but there are solutions and options, whether you guys meet at a coffee shop, outside, or meeting at Security Pacific, taking advantage of the conference room, or even sitting outside of Security Pacific, where you're able to still maintain your social distancing. Another great option is to set up a Zoom meeting with them. You can let them know it's going to be about 20 to 30 minutes. But ultimately, once you can kind of get face-to-face with them, it's going to establish your connection a little bit better with that client, and you're able to prepare a little more information based on what you've gauged and picked up from your initial conversation. So, you have that first initial phone call or email that gives you kind of an idea of what they're thinking, and then setting up that face-to-face. During that face-to-face, you could go over, the buying process, Ultimately, what you want to do is provide value and information to that prospective buyer of what's going on with the market, what the interest rates are kind of looking like, what's currently pending, what's currently selling in those markets that they're looking at. Are there multiple offers? Is it a seller's market? Information based on the inventory that's out there. Sharing with them, the market conditions. You're instantly going to separate yourself from another agent they might be calling or not. And then also having that conversation with them, about if they've spoken with a lender. If they have, great. And if they've already started the process, sharing with them also maybe some local lenders that you work with and the advantages of maybe possibly working with a local lender as opposed to maybe a bigger lender that's not accessible, that might not be familiar with the county transfer taxes or the city transfer taxes, or available to give you or give them, ultimately a sense of the timelines and the importance of working with a great lender. You can reiterate that a lender is a part of the team, right? So not only are you acting as their realtor, acting in their best agent interest of finding them an amazing home that's going to match up, but also, letting them know that the lender's here also to serve them, not only to give them the best loan and the best interest rate, but really being a proponent for them. That could be calling the listing agent when you guys are ready to make an offer, staying in communication, being accessible. That's going to provide value to them and ultimately help them not only strengthen their offer, get considered to be accepted, but also making for a smoother transaction throughout the process. Having that conversation with them about the pre-approval really kind of gets them started on the right foot to secure that financing, develop that relationship with that lender, and really be a proponent and a part of their team to getting their offer accepted. By showcasing your value of being the local expert, really involved with what's happening, opportunities for them that another agent might overlook. This gives you a great opportunity to present that value to them. And then also just delving in a little more deeper into what they're looking for, right? Who's making decisions. Maybe it's a couple, and schools are extremely important to the buying process. You're able to really kind of filter out homes that aren't going to work out because they're in different areas, and finding, asking questions. Is a commute important to them? Is having public transportation important to them? Is having a big backyard important to them? All these things that you can ask questions to learn about them, their current lifestyle, and what's ultimately going to be important for them once they move into their new home is going to really kind of give you a great background and information that's going to help you filter the search. Also, at that initial face-to-face, you're going to want to give them tools to be able to search for homes. There's plenty of tools that you can put them in connection with. One is Cloud Streams. It's a free resource to us that you can access through Paragon, which allows you to create a search or essentially a stream that's connected to the MLS, which is going to give them updated information as soon as homes hit the market. That you'll be able to interact in real time with that client, making comments, suggesting homes to them, or even adjusting their original search criteria, really just to put that search into focus and filter through so the quality of homes that they are seeing really match up to what they're looking for. Setting up automatic emails or notifications to them through Paragon also is a great tool. But from that initial meeting, you're going to want to implement that search that's accessible to them, that you're dialed into and you're in the loop, and then ultimately starting to find homes that match up. Another great tool, as well, as I like to do with a follow-up, is if we establish the areas that they're looking for, the type of home, the size of the home, and the markets they want to be in, is sending them a link of homes that have sold or are pending in the last month. Because obviously we know, and sometimes in the market, that the list price doesn't truly reflect the sales price. So sending them maybe 3 or 4 homes that are comparable to what they're looking at, that have recently sold, will really be able to kind of get them on board with what those actual price points are that they're going to sell at. So they're not looking at maybe a home that's listed at 450 that's going to sell for 600, and their budget, they want to be within 450, then you can educate them rather quickly up with a follow-up email after that face-to-face. So you've now had that initial conversation with them. You've now had a great face-to-face. You've been able to answer all their questions, get a whole bunch of more information to help you filter the search. The next step right now is going to be setting up those home tours. During COVID right now, obviously we require the PED forms. If you have any questions, you can always go to Jack or myself. There's plenty of tools to use, glide disclosures that help you set up prospective buyers and send out PED forms relatively easy to automatically go to the listing agent. Great tools to help you, but ultimately you're going to want to call that listing agent, get information about the property, let them know that you're interested, that you're going to be sending over a signed PED, and then confirming an appointment with that listing agent. And that could be done on Calendly or other links that automatically do it, or literally just having a text, email, or phone call with that listing agent to confirm that you're able to view the home, obviously using COVID's best practices, and able to get them in. Now, I know when I first started in the business, I'd maybe show 8 homes to a new prospective buyer, but when you really overload yourself, you might think you're being productive, but I find after about 3 or 4 homes, they all kind of start blurring together, and there's not elements or characteristics of that home that sometimes will get lost by overloading. So I usually like to set up, up to about 3, possibly 4 or 5 at the maximum, and then going out, right, and showing them those homes. And you're going to want to ask questions, right? Read their body language too. How are they reacting to the home? Do they have a huge smile on their face, or even with the mask, do their eyebrows go up? Seeing kind of what they're looking at and asking questions. Is this kitchen big enough for you? How do you feel about the cabinet space? Do you feel there's enough light coming through? Are the bedrooms large enough? But just reading their body language and then and engaging with them, and seeing what matches up and works for them. The disclosures conversation into the conversation, especially if they're interested in the property, right? Saying, hey, you seem to like this place, and you've answered positive to the questions that I've been asking. Let's get a little more information on this. Lead that conversation right into maybe some of the point of sale ordinances, and starting to educate them through what possibly home inspection reports can look like, termite reports, just a basic introduction to get that conversation going, and you're able to prepare them for it. After you look at a few homes, it's kind of great to see, maybe if you show a home that's completely fixed up to as opposed to one that needs a lot of work. They might initially say in their face-to-face, oh yeah, no problem, we're willing to take on a bunch of cosmetic work or remodel a bathroom or kitchen. But when they actually get into the home and they start seeing those differences, that's really going to help you out on your search. Because a lot of the times what they tell you, and then when you get into the actual home and start viewing it, it's going to change and help you revise that search and filter. So, you've already gone through many of the steps so far to get your new prospective buyer now to an actual client. And, ultimately you're going to be getting more information. You show the homes, the ones that they're interested in. You're going to want to reach out to that listing agent and get information about when's the offer date. Do you guys have an offer date? How are you accepting offers? Are they being reviewed as they come? Also, do you have disclosures on the property? You have inspection reports on that property, right? It's going to give you a great chance to, one, make that connection with that listing agent, let them know that you're interested, and then also being able to get that information about that home, that then you can have that conversation and go conversation with that prospective buyer, and go into that next section, which we'll go over in the next training seminar. As always, feel free to call me anytime with any questions that you may have or any steps of this process, and I'll be happy to help. Thank you for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.